Hello everyone, I hope everybody is doing great and preparing for your CISSP certification. So I posted these 5 questions yesterday to help you prepare for your exam. So today I'm going to be providing you with the answers and explanations for each of those questions, and I hope that by the end you are better prepared for your towards your CISSP certification. So let's start. Question 1 was, degaussing is used to clear data from all of the following media except option A was a floppy disk, option B, read-only media, option C, videotapes, and option D, magnetic hard disks. So the question is from the topic of data destruction, and what degaussing is. Well, it destroys magnetic media by exposing that media through a strong magnetic field. And what that magnetic field exposure does, it rearranges the particles on the media, and that would erase all the data on that storage media. But that only affects magnetic media disks. Uh, it's not going to have any impact on read-only media like a paper printout or a CD-ROM. So the option B seems to be the best answer because floppy disk, videotapes, magnetic hard disks, all of them, they get affected by degaussing. The only option that's left out here is the read-only media. So that is the answer. Moving on, question number 2. What is the main issue with media reuse? So, in organizations, we see people come, people leave the company, new people that are going to be joining in, and the laptop that's in one person's use today or the storage media that they have been using, it's going to be assigned to another person in the company. So there is this media reuse concept. Even though IT teams and everybody tries to erase the data from those media before it's allowed to be reused, but there is this security risk that is attached to it. So that risk is basically called data remnants. So data remnants, how do you define that thing? So it's the residual representation of digital data that remains even after attempts have been made to remove it. So that is going to pose a risk of data restoration by the other user who may be assigned that media for reuse. So it has nothing to do with degaussing, media destruction, or purging. The best answer is your data remnants. Question number 3. Which protocol makes use of an electronic wallet on a customer's PC and sends encrypted credit card information to the merchant's web server, which digitally signs it and sends it on to its processing bank? So basically, question 3 is giving you a definition and is asking you to pick the right protocol name from the given options. So if we know the definitions of these protocols, at least 3 of them, then of course we would probably be able to pick the right answer. So let's take a look. Option A, SSH, that's secure shell. So secure shell, we know that it's basically replaced telnet because telnet is a clear text and an insecure protocol. So that's not the definition of what's written in the question. SMIME, well, SMIME, it stands for Secure Multi-Purpose Internet Mail Extensions, and it's used to encrypt and digitally sign the email messages. Again, that's not the definition here. SET, or Secure Electronic Transaction, well, I know the definition, so this is the definition of an SET protocol. So the right answer is actually SET, Secure Electronic Transaction. And the protocol was basically developed by the credit card companies, and the purpose was that the complete cycle of completing a transaction using a credit card should be done in a secure way so that nobody's actually reading or can read the customer's credit card and still they're able to complete the transaction. So that was the purpose of SET. SSL, we know that's not the definition of an SSL or secure socket layer. So the best answer is C. Question number 4. What would define a covert channel? Uh, okay, let's take a look at the options. Option A, an undocumented backdoor that has been left by a programmer in an operating system. Uh, the question is basically asking you to provide the best definition of a covert channel. So we are looking for a definition here. A backdoor can be used to send and receive the information, but that's not the definition of a covert channel. So option B, an open system port that should be closed. No, that's again not a covert channel. A communication, even though it can be used for communication and transmission for a covert channel, but again, that's not the definition. The definition is option C, which states a communication channel that allows the transfer of information in a manner that violates the system's security policy. So that's basically is the definition of a covert channel. Well, a covert channel, it's basically an information flow that is not controlled by a security mechanism. And why is that? Because the way this communication is happening is not the intended purpose of that particular component that is allowing this communication to happen. Option D, it's a Trojan horse. Again, they can be used for sending and receiving the messages, but again, it's not a definition of a covert channel. Moving on to question number 5. In mandatory access control, or also known as MAC, sensitivity labels attached to the object contain what information? So in a mandatory access controls, the access is governed by the rules that are defined by the system. So once the rules are defined, uh, the system is automatically gonna implement controls based on those rules. So what happens is like the subjects, they're gonna have certain labels that are gonna define their security clearance. And then the objects, they're gonna have the sensitivity label, their classification level actually, and there is going to be another value in there that's going to help establish if the subject has a need to know. Only then that will be allowed to have some access. So option A, it's the item's classification, yes, but there's another item. And the second item is going to be the category. So option B is the best answer here that tells the item's classification and its category. So the category of an object, it's going to give you a need to know for that object. So before a subject is allowed access, that subject must have a need to know, like a business justification. It's not just enough for them to have a security clearance. With the security clearance, they should also have a business justification, a need to know in order to be able to grant it access to that object. So these were the 5 questions. I hope that you have a better understanding if you didn't have that before. And I'm gonna keep on posting these more questions, and I'll try to bring in more complex ones because these questions, even though they are like good practice questions, but probably they are not gonna be like included on the exam itself. There are gonna be some questions similar to these ones, but I know that the exam questions, they are like way tougher than these questions. But again, I mean, these questions, the purpose of the posting these questions is actually to help you prepare towards the exam, and these questions are gonna help you at um, at preparing you better. So keep watching and stay tuned. I'll be posting more questions pretty soon. Thank you.